The room went silent the moment Jasmine entered. Cameras flashed, the crowd murmured, and every eye turned toward the stage. No one expected what was coming. Not her, not the evidence, not the confrontation that would unravel the carefully constructed image of a powerful family. Donald Trump strode to the microphone, ego radiating from every step. He smiled, confident, as if control itself had a face, and that face was his. Ivanka stood beside him, poised, unaware that her world was about to crack in ways she could never imagine. Jasmine's eyes scanned the room. Calm, measured, unyielding. In her hands, she held a folder that would change everything a DNA. Report challenging the very assumption that had defined this family's public image. She stepped forward, voice steady but sharp. This evidence shows something no one has dared to question. Publicly, Ivanka is not biologically Donald Trump's daughter. Gasps erupted. Some audience members covered their mouths, disbelief written across their faces. Whispers spread like wildfire. Reporters fumbled for microphones. Phones were raised instinctively, capturing the shock. Trump froze, the confident smirk faltering for the first time. Ivanka's eyes widened, a flicker of panic crossing her otherwise composed expression. For a moment, the room was suspended in tension. The air felt heavier with each heartbeat. Jasmine didn't shout, didn't mock. She let the truth do the work. The silence that followed carried more weight than any insult could. Almost as if the room collectively realized it. One thought spread through every person present. This confrontation was not just a personal challenge, it was a revelation that could redefine legacy, power, and public perception in an instant. The stage was set. The patriarch confronted, the daughters assumed identity questioned, and the audience, caught between disbelief and anticipation, waited for the next move. What happens next? Jasmine said softly. Almost to herself, but loud enough for the front rows. Will change everything you thought you knew about them. The auditorium held its breath, sensing that the moment had shifted irreversibly. Whatever unfolded next would not be about spectacle. It would be about truth. This night was no ordinary confrontation. It was a battleground for legacy, truth, and perception. For decades, the family's image had been untouchable, polished, and projected as perfect. Now, in front of the nation, that illusion was cracking. Trump's voice tried to regain authority. He mocked the evidence, questioned its source, and leaned on the familiar rhythm of intimidation. But the audience no longer moved with him. They leaned forward, listening for clarity, searching for the weight of fact behind performance. Jasmine remained calm, letting each accusation hang in the air. She knew this was bigger than her presence on stage. This was about the people watching, the immigrants who had been told their voices were secondary. The students learning how power works in real time, the ordinary citizens seeing for the first time that wealth and control could be challenged with truth. Ivanka's composed posture began to falter subtly. The audience noticed the tension between the assumed truth and the revealed secret was palpable. Everyone in the room and beyond sensed a shift, the kind that ripples through lives quietly before it makes headlines. Whispers spread, both in the room and online. Clips of Jasmine holding the folder began to circulate, creating a storm beyond the auditorium. People replayed the moment over and over, discussing it in cafes, classrooms, and homes. But the stakes were not just public. Behind the veneer of power, Trump knew the personal consequences. Reputation, loyalty, family trust, all were at risk. He attempted to assert control, raising his voice, using sarcasm, attempting to distract with charm and threats. Yet each tactic landed lighter than expected. The audience's attention had moved. Every viewer felt the weight of the revelation, the responsibility of the witnesses. The scene was no longer about spectacle. It was about truth, accountability, and the human consequences of secrets long buried. And as the night deepened, no one knew that this confrontation would unearth a memory Trump had spent years trying to hide. A past that, once recalled, would become central to the story and to Jasmine's final revelation. Donald Trump's presence on the stage carried decades of cultivated confidence. He had built a persona around power, wealth, and unassailable authority. But behind the bravado was a man whose history was layered with ambition, mistakes, and secrets. Asterisk, he had spent years mastering the art of performance. Insults were tools. Loudness was armor. Attention was currency. Every speech, every public appearance had been honed to project dominance, to leave rivals unsure, and to ensure that his version of events became the narrative. Asterisk, yet even a titan has vulnerabilities. Beneath the smirk and the tailored suits lay the memory of a winter storm long ago. A moment of action, unrecorded by cameras or press. A child trapped, a choice made in quiet heroism, a trace of the man he once was, before ego and image became his shield. Asterisk, Trump's cruelty was born from fear, the fear of irrelevance, of being questioned, of a legacy. Questioned not by enemies, but by evidence and truth. That fear had been masked with arrogance, and the world had been convinced it was confidence. Asterisk, and that past, buried beneath decades of spectacle, was about to collide with the present. Jasmine, holding the proof of truth, would force him to reconcile the man he had been with, the man the world believed he was. Asterisk. The tension was no longer just public spectacle. It was personal reckoning, and as the audience watched, unknowingly, a narrative far more consequential than entertainment was unfolding, a narrative that would shift power, identity, and the perception of the entire family. Asterisk, Jasmine's story was different. She had grown up in an immigrant household, watching her parents work long hours, navigating challenges that required patience, intelligence, and quiet resilience. She learned early that dignity was earned through action, not words. That truth mattered even when inconvenient. Asterisk, her education had been rigorous, her mind sharp, and her spirit resilient. She saw the world through the lens of fairness, justice, and accountability. Every obstacle she faced reinforced her understanding that courage is measured in quiet moments of resistance, not public spectacle. Asterisk, when she decided to confront a powerful family with DNA evidence, it was not out of malice. It was out of necessity. Her mission was to reveal truth, to restore accountability, and to ensure that deception would not go unchecked. Asterisk, she understood power intimately, not by wielding it, but by navigating it with strategy, intelligence, and integrity. And now, standing on a stage before the nation, she carried the combined weight of her upbringing, her preparation, and her moral clarity. Asterisk, the audience connected to her immediately. She represented the underrepresented, the disciplined, the patient, and the principled. She was the embodiment of quiet strength facing the tempest of arrogance and assumption. Asterisk, and this was the strength she brought to the stage: patient, calculated, and ready to change the story without losing herself in chaos. Asterisk, Trump attempted to dominate the narrative with volume and charm, mocking the evidence, questioning motives, and relying on familiar intimidation tactics. But Jasmine's calm presence destabilized the rhythm. She did not react, did not shout, did not give him the spectacle he craved. Asterisk, Ivanka's composure began to falter subtly. The audience leaned forward. Whispers rose. Journalists noted the shift. Supporters noticed a subtle fracture in confidence. Each time Trump spoke, his words seemed lighter, his control more forced. Asterisk, Jasmine shifted slightly, a signal of readiness. The hush deepened. Phones steadied. The tension built. The debate was no longer a performance. It was a reckoning. Asterisk, and then with measured calm, Jasmine prepared to speak. The oxygen in the room seemed to vanish. Every eye followed her, sensing that what came next would redefine the night. Asterisk. Jasmine recounted the winter storm, the child trapped in a collapsed shelter, and the quiet heroism Trump had once shown. The room fell silent. She connected past courage with present accountability. Asterisk, you were a better man once, she said. I only want you to find him again. Asterisk, Trump's bravado cracked. Ivanka's posture faltered. The audience shifted from shock to respect. Applause rose slowly, then swelled into affirmation. Jasmine stepped back, having delivered the final, unassailable point, not cruelly, but truthfully. Asterisk, the night's climax left a lasting resonance. What had begun as confrontation ended in recognition of power, of legacy, and of the choice to act rightly. Asterisk, the revelation spread instantly. Students replayed clips, families watched with pride, and communities felt seen. The narrative had shifted. Trump and Ivanka recalibrated in private. Advisors panicked. Public discourse focused on accountability, truth, and composure. Asterisk people discussed not just the revelation, but the model Jasmine set, confronting power without anger, proving courage without spectacle. It became a teaching moment, a viral lesson in leadership and dignity. Asterisk Jasmine addressed viewers directly. She emphasized dignity, patience, and moral clarity as true markers of strength. Leadership is not volume, it is accountability. Truth carries weight, even against power. Her words resonated deeply, leaving the audience inspired, validated, and ready to act with integrity in their own lives. Asterisk, the camera lingered on Jasmine one last time. She encouraged viewers to stand tall, uphold truth, and support those whose voices are ignored. The night's lesson was clear. Dignity beats spectacle, calm beats chaos, and courage rooted in principle outlasts arrogance. The message traveled beyond the hall, beyond screens, creating a call to action that viewers could carry into their own communities.